Hey guys, this is UBR Tech, and today's video is going to be how to clean and lube an APC9 Pro. So I'm going to go through some of the things that you could use to clean this thing. So the first thing would be the rod and the extension part that came with it. You'll need paper towel, and if you don't have paper towel, you could use a rag. But basically what you want to do is you want to use something like this that doesn't leave any lint behind. You also need a pair of scissors, and the reason why is because you're going to take the paper towel and you're going to cut it in little squares like this. That's to get into the hard to reach areas. Put that aside. You'll need some type of CLP, some kind of cleaning lubricant. This is what I use. You don't have to use this. I'm not sponsored. They don't give me any kind of money. But this is what I've been using forever. Some patches to clean the barrel. The 3 brushes that came with the cleaning kit. Just to give you more information, here's just a soft brush. Here's the bronze brush, nylon brush. Then you're gonna have these 2 things for the hard to reach areas. This is basically a cuticle pusher. The reason why I like using this is because it's easy to get into some of the areas, and also it's soft, it's wood, so what you're cleaning is much harder than this, and it won't scratch up or it won't mar anything on your B&T. Same thing for this. This is plastic. This helps because it's a flat edge, helps to get into those really tiny small areas. Nylon brush. This is to try to brush off some of those hard to clean areas. This is a little paintbrush with a nice thin brush at the end. I use this to put some oil on the hard to reach areas. So those are all the things you might need to do the cleaning and the lubing. One thing I want to make sure that I say is that this is just my way of cleaning. This is not the end all be all. You know, you might ask 10 different people and get 10 different ways of doing it. I'm just sharing my process. Okay, let's disassemble everything and start cleaning. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to make sure that this is safe. And as you can tell, there's nothing in there. We are safe. And now we can move on to the next step. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is break everything down. Remember, these pins are captive, so they're not going to go anywhere. I have a full video of how to disassemble and reassemble this thing, which I'll add a little link to the top so you can watch that if you need to get any more information. All right, once everything's disassembled, the first thing I do, I take the upper and I take the rod. I put one of these patches on the end, but before I do that, I take the CLP. I put a generous amount of oil on this patch and I stick it on the end here. Put it down into the barrel. And the reason why I do this is because basically I'm putting CLP into the barrel, and by doing that, you're going to let the CLP do its work, and it's going to break up a lot of the fouling that's in there. Okay, so now that I passed that down a few times, before we put it aside, try to get the CLP from this, and this area right here, that little silver part, I make sure it gets nice and oiled up with the CLP, so that again, let the oil do its work and break up all that carbon, and put that aside. Then I take the rear. So this is a rag that I used from cleaning a previous gun. It's a little dirty, but it's not dirty enough to throw away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe everything down. Basically just get as much as I can off of this rear cap and just basically inspect it. You inspect every piece that you can just to make sure you don't see anything that might be deforming or breaking down too early. So I'm trying to get into that little circle area. I take cuticle pusher and get some of that dirt off of there. Go in this area right here and just wipe it around, done. Right here, this is going to be a little dirty, so you just wipe down this part right here, like that. That's it. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. So next you take the lower and inspect it just to see how dirty it is. I've only shot like maybe like 200 rounds or 300 rounds through this last time I went to the range, so it's not really that dirty. I usually wipe off the face of the hammer and basically that's it if it's this clean. If you had to clean it, what you would do is put the gun on fire, hold your fingers on top of the hammer, pull the trigger, walk the hammer up, and then you would run the paper towel down there where you could see dirt with either one of the cleaning tools, cuticle pusher, and just clean everything up. So, but this is pretty clean, so I'm not going to bother. Once you're done, put the gun back on safe, and then you could put this aside. So then you could take the bolt and just wipe everything down. You don't have to go crazy. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just basically wipe off all the bulk. Once you get the majority of it, then you can go into the crevices like here. And what I normally do is, this is where these cut pieces are easier to get into these small little places. So I just basically push it in there, move it around on all the sides. And that's basically it. So you get the dirt out of there. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Try to get the paper towel into that hole, and you want to push lightly because you don't want to rip it. And then once it's in there, just push it around like in a circular motion. Again, you don't have to go crazy. Just trying to get the bulk of everything off. And then this part right here, this is another part where you can use some of the oil to break up some of this fouling. Take the cuticle pusher, just like I'm doing like this, and just move it around a little bit, because this is basically going to be one of the hardest parts to clean on this part. Go in here, but you just let it sit for a little bit, and then we will come back to that piece later. Retaining pin, nothing special. Just wipe it down. Once that's done, put that aside. The hardest part is going to be cleaning the upper. And the reason why I say it's the hardest part is just because there are a few areas that may be a little hard to get to, but I think I found a nice way to clean these areas. So it's just like in here. Let me see if I can get a better shot. Down there is kind of hard to get to. Like you can see there's all these different corners you have to get to. So I take the rod that it came with and the soft brush and wrap it with the patches that I created. And I basically put them down in this area like this. And you're basically going to push against all four corners and all three sides, because the top has three sides, and that's really what you're going to do. Pull this back out, slipped out by accident, go back in, and that's it really. And you'll see, you'll get a lot of crap off of here. See? Alright, and then what you're going to do is, once you're done cleaning the top part, you're going to do the same method for this portion, this area. And basically you're just going to send it down there and rub on all the sides, be everywhere. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just trying to get the bulk of everything off. And then that's it. You can see how much came off. And that's what I found to be the easiest method to clean the inside of here. This portion right here, you could just go in and wipe it down with your finger, just like that. And then over here, you can wipe this down with your finger if you didn't get it good enough. You know, you can look in there and spot check just to see if you missed anything. And if you did, you can take another pass with the paper towel. Then what I do is I take this part right here, the charging handle, and I slide this down. So now it's to the rear of the gun. I basically do the same exact thing, wrap this part like that, and I go into here. And same thing, all four sides, up, down, all over the place. If it gets stuck down there, you just pull it out with one of these, and you can see it gets more of the fouling off. The other thing you do from here is take clean side, and I wipe the exterior of everything. Wipe it down. Now, some people like to put a little bit of oil on the outside and oil it up, which you can do. I just normally don't do it because eventually, as I'm doing some of this cleaning, I'm going to get some of the oil in here anyway, and that's when I'll rub all the oil in and wipe off any excess. So I do that at the end pretty much, but that is it. So you get a little bit of the dirt off and it's pretty much clean. I almost forgot, we have to clean the recoil spring. You're just gonna make sure you rub and clean all of the sides of the spring, even over here, the tip. And then same thing here. Good to go, done. Put that aside. We should finish cleaning the barrel. So we could take a little bit of paper towel and rub it on this little area right here. You can see a lot of this is coming off. You may need to take the cuticle pusher and try to rub off some of this fouling. As you can see, all that's coming off. And it's getting nice and shiny again. Again, depending on how anal you are, you could, you know, keep going until it's like perfect. Me personally, I just like to get the bulk of things, and that's it. The other thing you could do is take the cuticle pusher and go into each one of these corners here, there, and just rub, just to get some of the fouling out of there. That's it. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish cleaning the barrel. You're gonna take your rods, put them together, just like this, and then you are going to take the bronze brush, put it in the end, and you're going to go through the rear, just like this. And it's gonna be the bottom part. So there's the top, and here's the bottom. You're gonna go through the bottom, and as you can see, you're gonna go right through here, which is the barrel. And you're gonna push this forward. The other thing I like to do, because I know I'm gonna push out a lot of carbon, is put the paper towel in front of there, and this way it catches the excess carbon. So you're gonna go through, and then you're gonna come back out. And you're gonna do that a couple of times. Okay, once you've done that a few times, I like to take off the bronze brush and put the nylon brush back on and pass a few patches down there again. Put some oil in there, some CLP. This stuff helps clean, and then put it on the end. Do the same exact thing. Go through the bottom portion, and you're gonna pass it through. Just like that. You can see all that crap coming off. And then what I do is use the same patch, but use the other side. So this is the side that got passed through. We're gonna use the other side. Actually, to make it even easier on you, you could lay it on here like that, and then put the brush through the bottom right here, just like this, and it drags it through. You can see it's getting more and more of that crap out of there. Same thing. You're basically going to rinse and repeat this process. As you pass these patches through, eventually the patches will come out with less and less fouling on it, and that's how you'll know it's clean in there. Same process, put it over the barrel hole, go through here, and drag that patch through. And as you can see, it's getting cleaner already. Going through the opposite side. Got passed through again. You technically don't want to go and drag it back through the barrel, but at this point it doesn't matter because there's so much dirt in there right now. So now that the patches are coming out cleaner, what I like to do is pass the bronze brush through one more time. Go right in here and pass it through. Take this part off. The other thing you want to keep in mind as you're passing this through is you want to hold on to here and not here, because you want this part to spin. So just keep that in mind as you're passing this stuff through. Get your nylon brush, put it back on the end, pass another patch through with some oil on it, same process. And as you can see, because I passed through the bronze brush, it's breaking up some more of the fouling. So sometimes you'll have to grab it and take it off. You'll get a new patch and you will rinse and repeat until it comes back clean. Now keep in mind, it all depends on how anal you want to be with this. The first time I passed everything through, that's probably good enough for a lot of people, but totally up to you. If you're the kind of person that wants everything to be spotless, then do it a bunch of times. For me, I pass the bronze brush through 2 different times and run the patches through until they're clean the second time around. Once they're pretty clean on the second time around, I'm done. I don't do it anymore. And you can see it's getting cleaner and cleaner. Run it one more time. And that looks pretty clean. I'll put a dry patch through this time. No oil. Just run it through, and what that's going to do is going to take any excess oil off. So this is the way we went through the first time. Now we're going to go through this side. So we're going to flip it over and run it through again just to take off any excess oil, and it looks pretty clean. So that's good enough for me. So I'll keep this patch and I'll put it aside because it's pretty clean, as you can tell, and I'll use this for the next time I do another cleaning. This will be the first patch I put through because I know I'm going to get a ton of fouling off anyway. I'm also just use this one instead of throwing it out and wasting it. So I put this one aside. Once we're done that, I go to the tip of the barrel and I wipe everything down with another clean paper towel. And then once you're done that, that's it. Now, as like I told you before, you're going to get oil all over this thing. Once we're done putting everything back together, we're going to wipe it back down. Now that we're done with the upper, we can put that aside. Let's finish our bolt. So what we're going to do is come back to this part where we left some of the CLP sit, and we're going to wipe off all the CLP. Take the cuticle pusher, lay it on top, and push into the corners and go left to right, up and down, and you can see it takes off a lot more of the fouling. Take the paper towel, put it over this part right here, and gently put your cuticle pusher in there and get in all the crevices. So you took off some more of the fouling. You could do it again. And there you go. So what you could do is at any part where like something like this, and you can see it's a little harder to get some of this fouling off, that's when you can go and take your nylon brush and you could try to get off as much as you possibly can. And what you could do is take a little bit of the oil, CLP, because this helps break down some of the fouling and dirt and whatever else is on here, and just wipe it on there. Once it's on there, take your brush again and scrub away. Technically you don't want to like leave it like this and put too much excess oil in there because you don't want it to get down in the firing pin, but that's just a very thin coating that I put on there, and I'm going to keep the bolt in this position and then just brush that whole area. You could take the plastic end from here and you could just rub it across where the black stuff is and you could scrape all that stuff off. Again, it's plastic, it's not going to damage any of this metal. And you can see it's coming off. This is all just nitpicking. You don't have to do all this stuff. This is just something I like to do. If you want to do it, great. If you don't, move on and go to the next step. So the other thing I like to do is take this piece right here and take the paper towel and kind of run it underneath the extractor, right like that. And that just, again, just cleans that extractor a little bit. Just gently, nothing, don't be too hard. And that's it. That's all I do. I don't do anything else much more than that. Then in this groove right here, I run the paper towel through here with the cuticle pusher like this. It's hard to see what I'm doing here. Let me move the paper towel out of the way. So just like this, and I run it along and then up that ramp, just like this, up this ramp. And that's it. You can see it gets a lot of that dirt out of there. I keep calling it dirt, but I know it's not dirt, it's just fouling. So you can continue to clean this as much as you want. I feel like that is satisfactory for me. I'm going to oil it. How I like to lube this thing up is taking the brush and fingers. So I just put some oil on my finger, just a little bit, rub it, and I like to put it on all the parts that I know are going to touch another piece of metal. So just like this, rub everything on, okay? Nice and easy, fast. The only thing you want to be careful of, not to get a lot of oil in this area, because that's where your firing pin is, and you really don't want too much oil. Now for these parts right here in, these crevices and stuff, you could take your brush and you could get some oil in there. Just put a nice light coating in all these areas, just like that. More crevices. Any areas where it's hard to reach, you just want to use the brush. So set that aside once it's been oiled, and then we're going to do the same thing with the spring. Put a little bit of oil on your finger and rub it up and down on the spring. That's how I do it. Rub it on the ends, and that's it. Nothing crazy, put that aside. Now for the last part, for the inside here, hard to reach spots again, same thing. Put the lube on with the brush, and you don't need a ton of it. Anywhere where you see that there's like some scratching because maybe there was metal on metal, you put some lube on. That's basically my concept. That's how I do it. So you could see that there was some metal on metal in there. Put some on here. It's not going to hurt. The other thing you're going to do is take a clean napkin, and this area right here, this silver part, you're just going to wipe that down to make sure there's no excess oil in there, because you don't need oil in that. So now at this point you could put everything back together. So when you're reassembling everything, the charging handle goes all the way forward. This is to the rear of the gun for the bolt. Slide this in like this, line up the hole, take your pin, the pin with the lip can stay upward, it falls right into place. Take your spring, this little nub part goes in first, and it goes up here into that hole. But that hole right there, the big hole, that's where you're going to put the recoil spring. So you're just going to put it in here. You'll feel it hit a wall. You push it in until it's not hanging out anymore. Take the rear of the gun, put the spring part right here into the bottom part, and then push it in just like that. Then push down on this and up on this. Back into place. Take your lower, make sure your pins are out, line up the holes, push the pins in, everything back together. And then the only other thing I do is I take one of these small patches and I wipe the excess oil down. Do the same thing for this side. You're done. So the only other thing you would you would do is do a function test, lock the slide to the rear, which I already did, and then push the slide lock down. That makes the bolt fly forward, rack it a few times, point it in the safe direction, put it on red, pull the trigger, and it seems like it operates fine. Some places will tell you to rack it, pull the trigger, hold it, rack it again, let go, feel the reset, pull it one more time, and that's a complete function test. That's basically how you clean a B&T APC9 Pro. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one.